All right. Hey, I'm here because I wanted to upload some stuff, but I've actually been dealing with just work and sleep and soon to be schoolwork. So I decided this go around that I'm just gonna complain because I'm always complaining, man. Um, so it is almost graduation week. We've got a few more weeks for this semester to be over and a bunch of people graduate. And I'm going to be hopefully one of those people. But there's so many things that I wanted to complain about regarding like school as a whole, at least as of right now. So, for starters, I have this major that mainly focuses with supposedly working in studios and making videos, blah blah blah, right? And I've been at it for a little while, and this is supposed to be the semester when it's finally over, and I get to leave because I want to go back and get another major. Um, well, so the degree, which is more of a certificate, but the degree that I had before I got to this major was actually more so focused with making games and programming games and all this stuff. That major was not being offered at the university that I'm attending now. Um, I had some friends who told me that it was, and because it was closer to home, I decided to come to it. Well, COVID hit by the time I got here. It just wasn't there, and they stopped offering it. So I was like, okay, and I decided to find another major. And some ways through, I realized that major wasn't really sitting with me well, so I decided to change majors. Now I'm on a major that I'm on now, and once I'm done with it, I want to go back and finish the major that wasn't really sitting with me well, because I feel like after some years of time that's passed, things have changed, and I should be able to, just finish out what I've already done thus far just fine. The issue with this is because and it's not even solely because I changed majors. Because the major that I'm in right now is such a completely different turn of events compared to all of the other majors I've ever been in, which has only been like two, not including this one, all right, as far as I remember. Um, because of all this change and stuff that's going down, I've had to substitute classes I already finished several majors ago. I say several, like I've had like six of them. One of my classes, like one of my majors, right? I had coding. I was basically coding, programming, right? I had it uh, programming one and two for my last major and the major before this one. And the only reason why I took it twice is because the credits apparently did not transfer over, even though I passed both classes with like an A. So whatever, right? It's cool, doesn't matter. But I had to substitute them, which basically means that for the major that I'm in now, even though I've been in it from start to finish, I still had to give up several of my credits that I already like worked for another major, just for this one to be a quote unquote like 100%, which I think is a very, very dumb thing to do. Because what if like you're coming into this major, right? And you don't really have any other classes. You never had another major. Like this is your first one, right? Essentially, I'm missing maybe three classes worth of work. Really, two. I'm missing, as far as I know, at least two classes worth of work that was not included in like the prerequisites that I already took for my major. So to make up for that, they took away credits that I actually worked for and went to class for another major in order to quote unquote satisfy this one. I don't think that's cool. To an extent, I don't think that's fair. I don't think anybody should have to go through something like that. And it's mainly because what if you decide to go back to school and like say you completely forgot all this happened when you come back and you're wanting to finish up a major, or if you're wanting to start a new major, whatever the case may be, this process is going to get repeated because for whatever reason in whatever field they're throwing on extra classes that you've never done, and you're swapping out the classes that you have done for these other classes, right? So basically, you're telling like your next boss, your next employer, right? You're telling them, hey, yeah, oh, I definitely took these two classes and passed. When in reality, you never took those classes at all. You took two completely different classes, and they just gave you those classes. And I want to say for free, but really it's not for free because they took away the two classes that you already actually did take. You're substituting them out, you're replacing them. So you don't know what you did in any of those classes. And if that next employer or whatever runs past you like, oh, well, how did you finish? And you never took the, and now you got to be like, oh, well, they just subbed those classes in. I guess they weren't really important because we didn't have to take them. Personally, me, I wouldn't have minded taking another semester, right? If that meant just taking 2 to 3 classes, sure. I mean, I know it's not going to be completely covered by financial aid or whatever, but at the very least, at least then when I decide to come back to get a second major, I can just finish where I left off instead of having to go back and redo classes I've already done, right? And by the way, the computer programming classes were hell. They weren't hard or anything because pretty much all the answers are online. And then the book has a good chunk of the answers. And I've taken programming essentially 2 years. So to an extent, I somewhat know what I'm doing in that department, right? But at the same time, it's like, why? I don't want to have to go back and do it again. I had a teacher who was threatening to fail pretty much my entire class because we all got A's. And it's like, the class is online. We're not taking it in person. The first time I took it at my last college, I took it in person. This go around, semesters ago, it was online. How are you threatening to fail us when we have the entire internet at our disposal? And she's claiming that we're cheating and we're doing this and we're doing that. Technically, yes, you can say that we're cheating. But at the same time, if you want us to make a program work and there's an understood idea that one specific code makes it work, how can you be upset that everybody is using that same specific set of code? It was in the book. It was provided to us. How ignorant can you be? And then, technically, there are about 4 or 5 other ways to make that same code work that involves using different language. Well, not necessarily a different language, but more so, I guess, different terms, different phrases, different lines. And because of that, the teacher, there's nothing you could do that wouldn't get on her bad side. And everybody in the classroom was cheating. I'm not going to lie to you. We're all online. We had a group me. Everybody was talking about using a group me. And what's really funny is, and I wasn't, but I was reading and watching and cracking up. They were all insulting this teacher. They hated her. They were flaming her. They were really doing her in. And then towards the end of the semester, somebody invites her to the group chat, the group me. I don't know who did it. So she can see everything everybody's typed. And everybody left the group chat that same day. And I mean, obviously I left. When I started seeing other people leave, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get out. But it was the funniest thing ever, man. They hated her so much. It was just a group chat dedicated to talking about how much she sucked. And I guess basically how they were going to get on Rate My Teacher. RATE, Rate My Teacher. And just ruin her name. And I mean, to be honest, I think she deserves it. The stuff that, the way she was treating everybody, for an online class, was really just diabolical. And she should not be allowed to be a teacher. So if she's fired, I mean, I hope she is. But if she's not, then it is what it is. But, yeah, I say all this to say that now, if I want to go back and get that other major done, I'm going to have to redo those classes. Pray to God I don't run into her if she is, or it turns out to be one of my teachers. But outside of that, it's about 2 weeks, possibly 3 weeks before the exam. This is one of my first off days or chill days before I have to go back to school. And of course, it just sucks, man. I finally finished pretty much all of the heavy busy work that I've had to do for classes, but there are some classes I've seen where I've missed 8 assignments. And I'm confused on how I missed them because you get notified when an assignment is due. And I'm looking through the assignments, and I remember the teacher would put out announcements. They weren't assignments, they were announcements, because I would actually click them to see. There was no submit button, there was nothing. It was just telling us to go check out some other assignment, right? And I come back and I look at my grades, just checking with each class. And there's one teacher I'm missing 8 assignments for. And I'm like, what the hell? Why am I missing so many assignments? What's going on? I'm going and I'm looking at like the due dates and stuff, and they're due on like the 12th, not the 12th, like they're due at 12 p.m. Mind you, usually I'll get off of work at like 8 a.m., right? I'll have a class at 1 p.m., have a class at 1:30 p.m., I have a class at 10 a.m. And Canvas never had anything where it's like, oh, the work is due at 12, right? It was not up on like your to-do list to show, like tell you that the due date was due this day at 12 p.m. So I'm trying to figure out how did I miss these, right? And I'm not even going to message the teacher because as of late, all the teachers that I've been like emailing have just been rude for no reason. Well, I can't say no reason. I don't know what they've been going on, like what they've been dealing with, like as far as their personal lives go or like classes go. But if your life sucks so much that you have to just like snap on students who are genuinely trying to get answers, or you're being petty or like childish or whatever to students who are just trying to get answers, I really don't think you deserve to be a teacher. But yeah, overall, it just sucks because now that I've finished pretty much all of the busy work, I have just straight projects to do. And I mean genuine projects. So like for example, by like next week, I have to do a paper. The paper's got like 5 questions. Each question is something that the teacher expects us to type out. Like each question, I guess, is supposed to have like a paragraph or an answer, just about, right? So that's 5 paragraphs to each question, and you have to go to these links and look up this information and basically type what we read, but it can't be verbatim. So it's like, how is that even a paper? You know what I mean? You want us to answer something that you're asking based off a website that we're looking at, but I guess you want us to explain it in our own words and somehow make that expand over the course of a paragraph, if not more, 5 different times. Why? You know, why not just be a normal teacher and give us a test? Why not be a normal teacher and give us, you know, like let us finish out with some homework or some worksheets? Or better yet, why not just be a cool teacher and have nothing due during exam week since we're graduating? Like, what's wrong with you? So, you know, that sucks. And then I have another one where I have to edit a video. And I think the class is, well, I didn't really like the busy work in a class because I've already done most of it at another college. But in regards to like the actual projects and stuff that we had to do and that we had to get done, I'm actually almost done. I'm like halfway there. My biggest issue is that now the professor is cracking down, talking about we need to bring our work to class and work on our work in class. And I think that that is extremely stupid because I have like a terabyte. Oh, okay, hold on. Not a terabyte. I've got probably 30 gigs worth of footage that I can edit with, right? And it's all on my computer. I'm not backing this footage up to some hard drive. I'm not backing this footage up to some cloud drive just to work on it in class, right? That's super stupid. All my stuff is at home. I got my headphones and everything plugged in. I've got my shortcuts, hotkeys, and everything hooked up so I can work on it as I go. Forcing us to work on it in class does not help us. Not only that, but there are students who have to get interviews. Forcing them to sit there when they could be going out and getting interviews or could be getting interviews online is not a smart way to do this, right? Granted, we're all supposed to be at the stage where we're editing and whatnot. But once again, I don't know about you, but I am not about to bring like 30 gigs worth of footage to class just to edit it. Like that's not happening. I don't care what the professor says. If you got to drop my grade, drop it. I am not doing that, man. And because they're going to be on school computers, right? So you put all, and not all, okay. So the school's terrible. In my honest opinion, it's really bad. I don't like it. I ended up doing it because it was cheap and it was close to home. If it was up to me, I would have went to the school like a state away or at least hours away. But I didn't, all right? I picked a school that was close to home and cheap. School's terrible. Wi-Fi sucks. There's shootings a lot of the people are ghetto. It's actually just like a really bad environment, at least in my opinion. I'm not there all the time. I used to be up there pretty often, and I just hang around late hours finishing up like work for classes. But now I'm just not. I mean, I wasn't really enjoying it then, but I'm definitely not enjoying it now. And I have to go to a completely different campus just to get work done, which seems pretty stupid considering that I also have to jump to another campus as well and have not a handful, but like 2 to 3 online classes, which feels like a handful anyway, right? So I'm hopping between different campuses and doing online, and I've done it before, but it's not something that like you want to do. You know what I mean? All this while also dealing with school and whatever's going down at home with family, right? And teachers are expecting you to take all the time out of your day to meet their needs, which is incredibly crazy, right? Because half the time when I'm coming to class, I'm either coming right after work or I'm having to go to work right after that. I don't have energy to be just focused on you for an hour plus. And a good chunk of those classes are an hour to 2 hours. Nobody's listening to you for 2 hours. I'm going to be honest with you. And you know this. So instead of just ending class early and giving us the highlights, you'd rather make us sit there and listen to you talk for 2 hours. Like, what's wrong with you? I digress. So, because of all of this going down, right? I also have to make a PowerPoint presentation to follow through with the video footage that I have to edit at home. So my idea is to keep editing the footage at home, making different types, and submitting that to my professor online until the due date when I can submit the final official one and just work on a PowerPoint presentation in class, right? Because I completely forgot that everybody has to do a PowerPoint. In other words, I didn't know that everybody had to do a PowerPoint. If I had known, I mean, it still probably would have been the last thing I'd do anyway, but I probably would have put a little more time into realizing I had to do it, right? So I've got a PowerPoint and that video project. Both of those are for one class. I've got a paper that I basically have to answer everything in the form of a paragraph. That's due for one class. I've got another class where I have to do 3 separate like news articles, I guess. I'm basically being a radio host covering whatever it is the professor specifically says that I can cover. And I have to do research and interview people. And I have to record my voice and write scripts. Huge waste of time, by the way. I've already done this for another class and I'm having to do it all over again for a completely different class. Huge waste of time. All right. So that's 3 different classes with 3 projects. Right. And then I got another class, which they just threw the project on me, same as the radio thing, just threw the project on me last minute, where I basically have to do like a 2-page paper based on some stuff. I don't even know what it's on because I haven't checked it. But it's basically due at the same time all of these other projects are due. All right, that's 4 different projects. At least 2 of them are papers, and I'm not allowed to submit one of them until the due date, which is extremely ignorant that you're having us wait until the last day to submit and not letting us submit the day before, even though the project is open to submit 2 weeks beforehand. And if you do, I guess he either takes points off or he fails you. That is extremely ignorant, right? But that's 4 different major projects that will determine whether or not I pass right there. All while this is going on, I have about 3 different classes that's nothing but busy work and quizzes and presentations, which is fun, you know? And then outside of all of that, I have work, which are at really odd hours of the time. And, kind of mess with my sleep schedule. And then I have whatever goes down at home, which as of late, I've just been covering majority of the chores and getting stuff done around the house when needed. And when none of that's like going around, I try to find time to record videos or make art or play games or talk with friends or go out with friends or whatever the case may be. So you can imagine the kind of stress, I would be facing. And then to really sell things, apparently we were supposed to get our caps and gowns in February. It's April. We graduate in May. I never got the email for caps and gowns, or actually, scratch that. I got the email for caps and gowns. I didn't check it because I didn't see it because my email, my school email, mind you, gets spammed with every change a professor makes to Canvas about grades or assignments. It gets spammed with every job opportunity some office delivers to us, trying to see if we want to work at some company nobody cares about because it has nothing to do with our major. And then on top of that, there's apparently phishing and scam emails that inflate our inbox, and the service and system has been hacked by God knows who so many times that they've had to keep changing the system up because it's constantly vulnerable to hackers, which you don't really hear about in other schools or in places in general, I guess. But here, apparently, it's pretty common. So, you know, that's pretty much everything I've been going through. And nobody probably cares. But if it were up to me, I don't know, man. I still got another major to finish. Hopefully, if I even get to it. If I don't, oh well, you know. I gave it my all, coach. Time to do construction work or something. But I think in time, this major, which is supposed to give me the ability to speak out and reach people and have a platform, I'll probably end up using it to completely undo the university because I cannot stand it. And if it were up to me, I'd tell more people not to go to it. But because I'm currently in it and still attending it and plan to go back to finish a completely different major inside of it, you know, I can't be anti this university until years later once I've officially graduated and had time to rest in whatever position I've made it to outside of the university. There are some ups and downs, but right now it's just a lot of downs. And yeah, you're right. I could be working on all this work right now instead of making a video. But I decided to make a video because, like I said, most of my week has just been work, homework, and then housework. So, I mean, you got to find some time to relax and unwind. You got to have some kind of a work-life balance, right? So, yeah, that's it. This is footage of Elden Ring. I never really said it. I'm playing it modded with one of my friends. This was like months ago. I still have it modded on my PC, I believe. I don't know if my friend does or if he even plays it. We were planning to get to the end from where we're starting, wherever you see this. It's like a 2-3 hour long, well, never mind, it's an hour. It's like an hour long video. I'm not going to play the rest of it, but we're basically working to get to the final boss to get different endings, because I didn't know that there were different endings in Elden Ring. I've never flat out officially beat Elden Ring. Whenever I play it modded with friends. This is a prime example. We got a little bit into here around the time that the Avatar show came out on Netflix, and we never finished it. Like, we never finished the game. So he's finished it several times, but he wanted a specific ending, and I told him, hey, you know, like, I'm down to do it. Let's run it. I just finished Misfits. It's on Hulu. I think it's like a UK show. They all have like UK non-American accents. I loved it, and I want to talk about it so bad, but I want it to be in its own video. And usually people will watch it a second time through to see if there's anything they missed or have a better recap. I doubt that I'll go episode by episode. I'll probably just go off of what I remembered. So it probably won't be as long as a video as it could be, but I absolutely loved that show, and I think the last season was definitely one of the funniest by far. But yeah, you know, maybe I'll get into it sometime and really tell you about it. If I don't, then oh well. All right, school, yay, peace, eat my balls.